In an ancient time, when a terrible evil threatens the land, only one man can save the world.
Say what? Get out of here.
What? What's the meaning of this?
Oh, we'll just take off that broken record.
I say.
Here, hold my earrings while I take this monster down. I've got your back, darling. We just might burn down this town. Oh no, oh yeah. When you're up against a challenge and you need a helping hand, we've got an arsenal of fireballs, steel stilettos, and a cat. Oh yeah.
Hi, and welcome to Here Hold My Earrings. My name is Al, and I'm your DM today. With me are Henrietta, Yvonne, Laura, Daria, Sophie, and Ida. Henrietta?
Hi, I'm Henriette. I'm from Norway, and I play Delin, a Kalashtar druid.
Yvonne?
Hi, I'm Yvonne. I'm from Canada, and I play Cracker, a half-orc barbarian.
Laura?
Hi, I'm Laura from Germany, and I'm playing Byleth, a tiefling wizard.
Daria?
Hi, I'm Daria. I'm from Poland and I play a tiefling sorcerer named Zenis.
Sophie?
Hi, I'm Sophie. I'm from Wales and I play a human wizard named Charlotte.
And Ida?
Hello, my name is Ida. I'm from Sweden and I play Lilith, a wood elf cleric.
All right, take it away, Laura.
Yes. Okay. So, we are in the chimney, trying to get into Gauntlegrim and saving King Brunar. And we stayed with Bob and Darling, who we found in the chimney. So while we take a long rest, Dylan opens the chest she took from the Sothnablon family a while back, and she mostly finds personal belongings, like a small dagger, a locket with a cameo inside, a small piece of tooth, a small handkerchief, and a small book. Rick is worrying about how we get the ball back, his Mithril ball, and how we are going to save Bruno now that the chimney entrance is closed because the skulls kept attacking us, so we had to close it and it can't open again. So we don't worry about that too much at the moment. So we continue up and see what is there. We try to climb up, which succeeds pretty well. And when we come near the end and we see a steel grate and glowing behind it. Cracker goes up to it. There's bluish light flickering behind the grate. She heroically destroys it and the grate just flies back and gets destroyed, and Cracker jumps out all heroically. We see a new room, and there's a skull tile on the ground and floating tiles in front of us, slightly curved upwards. It's very, very weird. We take bones to throw at the tiles. However, skeletons appear, and we have to fight. Byleth pushes one off the edge with the thunder wave, and a lot of them appear near the water further down. So, yay. But we easily defeat them. They're not very tanky, just a lot of them. Zenise is doing very good damage with her head. And Byleth and Zenise cast Fireball. Yay, we kill them all. Lots of experience, lots of fire. Very cool. Now we have to get over the tiles that seem kind of suspicious. So we all jump on the tiles, and Charlotte accidentally or deliberately, more to say, I guess, jumps on the wrong tile and falls unconscious. And Byleth mocks her and then also jumps on the wrong tile and also falls unconscious. And Dylan and Cracker have to get us up. So we're kind of low intelligence wizards, I guess. But Charlotte recognizes that the pit has a lot of skeletons in there, like an unusual amount. And there are also sacrificial elements. Byleth wants to get out of the pit ASAP. So Cracker gets out with Charlotte and Wildshot Dylan, and Byleth makes her second try, and eventually we all get over this, over those tiles, and we pull the lever in front of us, and it fills with lava. The lava just keeps coming out, spreading into the room, and not stopping. So we run. There's a passageway ahead of us. We find ourselves near a big metal door. Behind is the big forge, apparently. So the lava there is gone, and we open the door, and we see the remains of King Bruno and his troops. And he says, "I don't think you'd make it. Let's get out of here." So we save King Bruno, and he wants to invite us to his ceremony. We get saluted and thanked. We're still the heroes of Gantagrim. Yay! So we see many people at the ceremony, a lot of dwarves as well as elves, and a human who is the Lord of Neverwinter, a ghostly dwarf, and a girl looking like a vampire, I guess. And because Megara is gone, they can no longer deliver weapons and stop the Orcish invasion and push back the Black Mold. So the state of Gauntlgrim is weakened through the loss of Megara, and they're discussing how to strengthen their economic state again. And they also want Zinnis to give her head back, which is bad, but well. And they must find an alternative source to keep the fire going, and discussing how to do it. One child also harasses Zinnis, and well, he's just so thankful that we saved them. Well, yeah, I guess. And the elf is Solus Hall, and in the end, we all sit down to a great feast. Yay! That's it.
Excellent. Well done. Anybody want to add anything? A point of inspiration for Byleth?
Thank you.
All right. As you are enjoying your feast, King Brunor lets you get into sort of the main body of the feast after you've finished your starters, and he takes a large metal cup that he's got in his hand, which looks like it's trimmed with silver and gold and some gems, and he bangs it twice on the table. "Councillor Bronanville, whilst we have everyone's attention, please present the finances and the state of Gauntlgrim before and after the loss of the Primordial." And the fellow that he refers to as Councillor Bronanville stands up. The rest of you are allowed to continue eating. And he passes around scrolls for every member at the dinner table, excluding, of course, the servants and the guards. So all of the nobles and the dignitaries who are visiting, the local important people, and each of you. And you see the following. As you can see, last year was a very good year. We had good import duties and generally were running a very strong trade surplus, thanks primarily to the export of weapons and armor that the good king has referred to. Even with the rise in wages and required imports of various raw materials, plus, of course, our foodstuff needs, mostly related to luxury items such as crafted beers and liquors, the city was in a very strong financial state. And heading into this year, we had expected an even better overall position for the Treasury as a result of continuing improvements in efficiency and output. However, in the final column, you can see that the loss of the Primordial and the shutdown of the Great Forge in all but name only suggests that we shall actually end the year in significant deficit. Wages cannot be sufficiently cut quickly enough, and even if we were to do so, the resulting loss of manpower, skilled labor, and social unrest would be unfathomable. It is, of course, the king's policy, but at this time, it is not expected that we would be able to make such adjustments quickly. As well, other entitlements, including pensions for the retired, but especially payments to the widows and orphans of those who were lost in the Battle of the Great Forge, have increased significantly as a result, as well as maintenance and upkeep and future wages expected to hire and train those replacement troops. It is understandably more difficult amongst the smaller population after such a devastating event to draw in potential new soldiers, men-at-arms, militia, and even police forces. Additional bonuses must be paid to retain or to hire new possible replacements. This is against the general backdrop of food prices being stable, which the king has pointed out is not a very likely outcome considering the state of the surface farms around Neverwinter Wood after the devastation of the black mold and the resulting, some would say, orcish invasion that nearly devastated the entire countryside and almost captured the city of Neverwinter. And that, Your Highness, is my report. Very good. Well, not very good, but thank you. Now, does anyone have any suggestions on how we can try to mitigate, avoid, or perhaps reverse this terrible economic situation that Councillor Braun Anvil has laid out before us? As I mentioned, it would be significantly helpful if we could utilize the Helm of Brilliance that Rick has reported was found by our new heroes of Gauntlgrim. It would keep our fires and forges going for some time. In the meantime, we might be able to work out a deal with some other group. In the past, Gauntlgrim worked hand in hand with a number of elvish magicians and wizards, as well as those from Silveringmoon, in order to try to develop a cottage magical item and artifact industry for export. What do you say? Right, that's helpful. Perhaps the delegate from the Feywild, the Sealy Court of Queen Titania, has some input. Well, Your Highness, distinguished lords and nobles, heroes of Gauntlgrim, and other dignitaries. First of all, I must say that with the messages we have been receiving from our agents in the field, we are under the impression that the Forest of Neverwinter and the portal to the Feywild is currently stable. However, we have had numerous requests from our elves and brethren in the Winterwood for a repatriation and emigration back to the Feywild, including a number of our patrolmen and soldiers who are based on this side of the portal. We do not believe that this is a wise military maneuver, but we are unable to sustain the necessary imports through the portal because it is running at maximum capacity currently, in order to keep all of those pioneers, settlers, colonists, and of course the military garrison itself afloat, whilst we try to rebuild the infrastructure necessary to support them locally, which is, I don't need to explain to you, significantly less expensive and more manageable if done at a local level. The Queen's concern is that all of the risks associated with the black mold are simply symptoms, terrible symptoms, of course. However, it is very clear that this is a multi-dimensional danger. The demons that we have heard reports of include potentially Loth and several smaller or less important demons. There was at one point a mention of Orcus and something that we think may have been interpreted as Demogorgon. Dweeblex and a few others are involved as well. Why they would all be centering here is not entirely clear, but something is clearly afoot, and the Queen would very much like to see some resolution. She could bring troops in, but given that this is a prime material plane problem, and considering that the risk to the Feywild is not insignificant, she believes it is better that the local forces here should happen to be in a better position to handle the dangers. This may require a smaller tactical force, but it really should be up to the local lords to decide. She can help, but our resources are not particularly plentiful either at this time. In the future, we would be willing to work in conjunction with, say, Silvery Moon, with whom we have had a very strong relationship over the last several centuries, to try to develop a magical artifact industry and to supplement Gauntlgrim's mines and forges. But that alone will take at least a decade to set up, simply because we have to work out the trade details, and we simply won't be able to do anything material in the next 6 months to a year. But of course, weapons and armor flows must continue, in our opinion, unabated and without any interruption. Thank you. And he sits back down. The king kind of looks at all of you. Any thoughts? Right. We'll go to Lord Neverember. I don't believe that I have to say anything further. Neverwinter has suffered the brunt of most of the attacks of the orcs. Of course, our elven friends in the winter would have also suffered, but the city itself is no longer under siege, but rather is being taken over from the inside by the Zentrum. I have no power whatsoever to stop them, politically or militarily, and I'm not entirely sure that they're actually better or worse than the orcs themselves would have been. They probably would have sacked the city and then left. The Zentrum, like a cancer, will continue to spread in the area and surpass the powers of local influence by all of the nobles along the Sword Coast, I suspect, within the next 5 years. Furthermore, any resources that we could marshal would then be funneled to the Zentrum, who have no interest necessarily in protecting this region other than to squeeze it for its tax base, and would rather support their own operations and their own headquarters further south. Ever since I nearly died, which is to say I did die and came back, I have been given a new lease on life and a better outlook on what we must achieve. In my remaining years, I would very much like to see Neverwinter join the Lord's Alliance and become a stable, gentle plutocracy, with, of course, myself as at its head, but with a Senate that governs underneath. None of this is possible if we have a military dictatorship run by an evil mercantile concern out of the south. Thank you. King Bruner looks back at you. Any thoughts? Surely you must have something to say by now.
What you want us to say? We're adventurers. We have discovered a great deal about the black mold we have, and we're trying our best to find a solution to get rid of it. That's our goal.
And what is this plan you have?
Right now, it's more like 11% of a plan. don't have a
That's
lot of.
quite a specific figure.
Yeah.
Can you lay that out?
Well, we are kind of a group who wings it, so we don't exactly have a very good plan at the moment, and we have been stuck in the Underdark for a long time.
He looks at you. And then he looks at his counselor and the other lords. But none of you are Aarakocra. You don't seem to be able to fly.
Oh, wing it. Yeah, right. It's an expression. We just kind of make it up as we go.
Oh, I thought you were referring to that. Lord Neverember, weren't you telling me about some angel or Aasimar that was part of the group that's helped save you from the orcs? Yes, there was someone who was a cleric of Lathander, but we haven't heard from her in a while. She apparently was called on an important mission for her church.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Well, she left the group. Let's
Oh,
just leave it at that.
Was that you?
Well-
You were all part of the same group.
No, well,
I don't remember any of you at the siege.
that's correct. Members have come and gone,
Oh, I see.
so to speak.
Well, I hope their deaths were glorious ones.
Well, they're not all dead, I hope.
No, it doesn't matter at this stage. We'll all be dead in the next couple of years if we don't find a solution.
Well, we're working on it.
Could you work any faster? This isn't really going to resolve itself over dinner.
We know.
Look, don't make me beg. You're the heroes of Gauntlgrim. I don't want to have to rescind the honor, but there is an actual law stating that any artifacts found in the ruins belong to the kingdom. And although we do provide some sort of compensation, the truth is, if we need it for strategic, military, or cultural purposes, it's all right to have it.
Right. Well, one more thing. We find a barrel of mithril down in
Oh,
the cave.
excellent. That's very helpful. You do realize we can't smith mithril without some magical fire.
Sure, but at least you have it.
Yes,
I
that's
can't.
very nice.
Well, I can't make the decision for the group to give back the helm, but I'm not opposed to doing it.
And
Even if-
Squirt, who has never, although he was gently pushed away by Zenise, you look down, Zenise, and you see Squirt snuck up on you and is now by your knee. He's resting his head on your knee. And of course, he's really short to begin with because he's a dwarf. So on top of that, he's barely like on your knee.
What are you doing?
I just want to say thank you again. Do you think my father's spirit is alive? Does he see us?
I don't know if he's alive, but if he is, he probably thinks about you.
Aw. Didn't expect that one.
Come here. And I pick him up and sit him on my knees.
I'm going to stand up and I'm going to slowly walk over to Zenise and whisper, "Are you ill? Do you need a healing or something? You don't seem like yourself."
Shut up. Please, shut up.
Are you cursed? I don't have remove curse. Does
Probably,
anyone
yeah.
have remove curse?
Yeah, he just sort of like hugs you around your neck with his little arms, and some of the strands from his beard get in your ear, your very long, pointy ear, and they just sort of tickle you.
Mm. It's okay, little one. Ugh.
So
You
cute.
see that Zenith is very uncomfortable. Like, oh my god.
Is Zenice's natural skin color, which is already dark maroon, sort of purplish red, is it turning even redder?
Probably.
And he holds out his grubby little hand, and it's got what appears to be a woven braided strand in it. Here, I made this. When Mummy told me about the heroes of Gauntlgrim, I wove this together with strands from my beard. It's a friendship bracelet.
Thank you.
May I put it on your horn?
Of course.
And he reaches up. He almost
I lower my
topples
head.
over. Okay. And he almost topples over, grabs onto your horn, and he sort of rather clumsily ties it on there. And then when it's done, it looks nice. It's sort of a, reddish, blondish little woven braid, and it just sort of sits loosely on your horn. If you dipped your head low, it would probably slide right off.
Thank you. You can go to your mom now.
Well, Zanice, you seem to have quite a way with children. You must be a mother.
Shut up. Shut up.
What? I'm the king of Gauntlgrim. No one tells me to shut up in my own hall.
You want this helm or not?
Anyway, so as I was saying,
Well, I can at least tell you we found out that the black mold is spread by Suktmoy because she is with child.
a demon lord is with child.
Yeah. As far as we know, we think Jubilex is the father.
Well, of course nobody knows. She's a demon. She's chaotic. She could have been with thousands.
True. But that's what we gathered, that Jubilex is the father. And as far as all the other demon lords and stuff, we think that they come from a portal in Menzoberranzan.
Menzoberranzan.
Yeah.
And he pounds the table, and he says to the table, including Solus Hall and Lord Neverember, I told you the Drow were behind the Primordial's release and escape. They tried it once 40 years ago and nearly succeeded, caused all that chaos with the spell plague and whatnot, and they're doing it again. Well, not the spell plague exactly, but you know what I mean. The eruption of Mount Hotanau. Look, we absolutely have to keep the forges going. You understand the military necessity, even never minding the economic impact on the region and the people of the city. Of course, if you have any other way to contribute, that would be helpful. We would certainly appreciate that. And look, to be clear, I'm very happy to reward you however best we can. I would like to make you nobles, honorary nobles of the city, provide you with a place to call your own so that you can rest your weary heads anytime you're in the area. You'll have a writ of royal decree that states that any dwarf in his or her capacity able to help you should do so with the gratitude of the king of Gauntlgrim, which of course is myself, or a regent in my place should something happen to me. And the other dwarf that looks a little ghostly and a bit of an undead character pipes up. No, my king, you can't die. What do you mean, Thibault Dwarf? You know better than anyone else that I've already died. We died together. Yes, but I've come back, haven't I? Well, sort of. You're not a vampire now. Potato. Anyway.
He's a
so-
vampire?
What?
Did you
What?
say he was a vampire?
Well, Thibault Dwarf, yes. Well, technically he's a vampire. That's one of his vampire spawn right there.
Oh.
He likes to do that to the drow that he captures. It's his way of getting a bit of revenge, you know.
Ever met Cassandra?
Is she a dwarf? You do know that not all dwarves know each other.
No.
That's a terrible
but
stereotype.
I thought that maybe all vampires knew each other.
And Thibbledorf goes, I don't know anyone named Cassandra, but I do know someone named Valindra Shadowmantle.
Hmm. I don't think I know that one.
Well, I think you'd know if you met her.
Oh.
She's as evil as she is beautiful.
Where's she from?
Well, she's an elf, but she's from Thay.
Ah, maybe that's Cassandra's sire, or what you call it. She did talk about evil.
She was part of the forces that invaded. And if I ever find her, I will rip out her throat and wait for her to regenerate and rip out her throat again and do it over and over again for all of eternity. And then he bites the other vampire that's sitting next to him.
Oh.
She recoils in terror, and there's some black blood that spurts out over the table, but she doesn't completely withdraw because she seems to be under his thrall. You'll have to forgive Thibbledorf. He was a battle rager before he was turned, and he was never very well. Cuckoo. Becoming a undead has just sort of made it a little bit worse, if you know what I mean. He's a great ally, terrific in a fight, but you wouldn't want to get on his bad side.
Understood.
So, what do you say? You look very intelligent. You two. And he points at Byleth and Charlotte. Are two wizards or something. I can always tell by the robes.
Oh, yes, we are.
Any thoughts?
Politics were never my strong suit.
This isn't really politics, is it? I mean, we're talking about survival. Is survival politics?
It's about the balances of power in the kingdoms.
The balances of power. This presumes that we're all equal and we're all fair to each other and we all want the same long-term goals, and it's just a question of who gets to be first or second. We're talking about the survival of all of the goodly races. Do you consider yourself a member of the goodly races?
Yes?
The inflection in your voice says otherwise. Have you done something wrong lately, young lady? And he squints with one eye open and one eye closed, and you feel like he's literally piercing into your soul. Say your next words very carefully. Meep!
She's just thinking about everything she's done in the last couple of, however long it's been.
Think of anything except a purple flying elephant. Fuck, purple flying elephant. Relacha Lulu's mom.
Yeah, that was the first thing.
Setting off all the various bombs and undead skeletons and God knows what else. Your silence speaks volumes. What is it you always say, Lord November? Never judge a book by its cover. Well, yes, that's true, but that's because the book that killed me exploded. That's why I don't trust that. And knowledge apparently is a bit of a dangerous thing, but this thirst for knowledge is even worse. Of course, as wizards, you probably not know anything about that. You probably like old books, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, wait until you have one explode in your face. You might change your tune. Lilith.
Yes.
I know you're one of the more junior members at the table, but and you were really just the scout and the guide for Solace Hall. But you're from Neverwinter Wood, aren't you?
That's correct.
would you share with us any anecdotes of your experience living through the ravages of the orcish hordes as they swept down from the mountains and invaded the farmlands, killing, pillaging, raping, burning, and destroying as they went?
I'd rather not talk about that, but we need to fight them off. So we need weapons. And since we need weapons, we need the Great Forge to work, right?
Exactly. Well spoken. And he pounds his metal cup on the table several times until everybody else picks up on the cue, and even the soldiers pound the butts of their spears on the ground. Yes, here. A strong defense is the best offense, as they sometimes say, or is it the other way around? I don't remember. In any case, from the mouths of children to the ears of the old and wise and powerful, hopefully, this wise... You are a holy person, aren't you? Yes, you are a holy person. Perhaps this wise child will tell us about the future environmental dangers that we face, and we must therefore step forward and make changes before our generation wipes out the future for the rest of the world. If only we could find another person from that part of the world with such outspoken views and such a kind young face. It's always the children that talk about the environment. Maybe Lilith's name should be Greta. I think she's no longer a child, technically. So, how about you, half-orc? I will admit there was a time when I would never have allowed you to be at my table. Probably would have just had you killed on sight. But years of traveling with my drow companion, Drizzt do Erden, has taught me, what were we saying? Never judge a book. Yes, right. Anyway, sometimes those who look the evilest are actually the greatest heroes at heart. Will you stand by Gauntle Grim and the people who worship you as a hero? Will you do what is necessary? Will you make the ultimate sacrifice if required?
Yeah, sure. Does anybody have any more beer? I just need a little for ale, you know.
Spoken like a true dwarf. Well done. Yeah, you keep this up, young lady, and I shall adopt you into my own household. At this, all the dwarves at the tables kind of go, anyway, don't worry about me. Sometimes I get in my cups and I overspeak my position. But what about the rest of you? What are these other weird people? What is that dear God doing at my table? I thought we'd driven most of them out.
She's been helping us. But she has some strange views, so I don't think it's best. Oh, that one. He's...
Oh, you meant Ashley.
Yeah. She has some views that might not agree, so I don't think she should. Well, she might antagonize you. It's best she just keeps quiet. And the other one, well, how should I explain it? He and his friends, and I'm going to take up the vial with the two tadpoles or parasite mind worms from the Illithid. His friends were stuck down in the area where we just came from and have been there for a while.
At the reveal of the Illithid larva, everyone at the table pushes back from the table. Most of them jump up out of their seats, at which point the guards charge forward, and they're all standing around you, their pole arms pointed in your direction. And the king goes, "You brought mind flayers into my home, into my hall? And this one, is he also a mind flayer?"
Well, We do believe he's infected with a tadpole or with a worm. Aren't you, Burrow?
And Burrow just kind of looks at you. A little bit of water drips from his nose into his beard. It's not like snot, it's just sort of like a nasally drip.
Brains?
I sense this is not a good position for me. I am not technically a mind flayer, but I am a victim of their experiments. We overthrew the mind flayers, much like other races have overthrown their masters in the past. My brothers and sisters and I only wish for emancipation and to live a life. We are our own distinct race. We can actually recreate and procreate on our own, although we do need hosts in order to initially start the process of transforming into a non-illithid body. But we can take anyone. Those who are brain damaged, those with mental deficiencies and are outcasts. We're not that picky. You know, having a psionic on your side can be quite helpful. And he kind of stares at all of you. And although nothing physically changes in his appearance, in your minds, you feel a temporary surge, almost as if a very bright light had been shined into your eyes to the point where your head start to hurt a little. But it doesn't go any further than that.
Yeah, that's Burrow.
You promised to bring us to safety, to get us freedom.
I promised to get you out.
You know, I read your mind. Your intent was clear.
Yeah, but I also know what mind flayers do. And I have no evidence that you or your friends aren't actually mind flayers and can wreak havoc.
Fine, we'll leave then. And he reaches for the vial with the tadpoles in them.
What does the other do? The guards with the...
Well, the king seems to be taking cues from you, although the guards are getting a little bit more antsy as he's reaching for it. He's doing it very slowly, as if he doesn't want to start a fight.
I don't want to be the one to kill him. But I don't want to be responsible for those parasites either. So I'm just holding the vial. I'm not gonna take it away or give it to him. I'm just gonna hold them.
He puts his hand on your hand and he starts to pull away from it. Give me back my siblings.
I'm just gonna look at the King Bruno.
I don't know. He came with you. Isn't he your friend?
We just met him. We don't make friends in 12 hours. Well...
How does Lilith feel about all that?
Very skeptical.
But, look, you're the heroes of Gauntlgrim. If you vouch for him and his siblings, as he calls them, then I'd have to take your word for it.
Do you have
It
any
wouldn't
mind
be-
flayer experts around there? Who's experts on mind flayers or at least well read about them?
People who run into mind flayers tend not to survive the experience. If they're not taken into slavery, they're usually consumed, leaving an unintelligible, gibbering husk if they even live. But most of them die immediately. The slaves are actually less lucky because they get subjected to not only the usual degradations, but can be also the subject of experimentation, which is what this poor fellow seems to be referring to.
Yeah.
There are a number of crossbred races. There are human mind flare offspring dwarven mind flayer offspring like this one. There are others that include other creature types altogether, not even humanoids. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a good idea to release him, but if he was under your protection as per some sort of an agreement, well, the old warrior in me says that you are honor bound to agree to uphold your agreement and to protect him. But I don't know what you agreed and how you feel about that. And of course, I don't know the exact details of your sense of personal honor. We call you the heroes of Gauntled Grim, but perhaps that was a mistake.
It's just that, well, things have come back to bite our asses when we trust too many people. He hasn't
Yes.
been threatening to us at all. He's been very protective of his friends. He wasn't too happy when we accidentally smushed one. But I don't know. I don't know enough about mind flayers to say that he's safe. But he seems honest.
Yes. They are usually harmless until they actually stick their tentacles into your head and suck out your brains through a hole they make at the top of your skull. Funny how that can change your attitude about them.
Yeah, but he doesn't have tentacles, does he? I don't know. What do you guys think? And
I don't have tentacles either, but I can eat the hell out of a melon if you give it to me.
Gross.
Impressive.
Well, it's not that hard, really. All you have to do is sort of peel it open and sort of cut at it a little bit with an axe or a knife or a sharp implement and then scoop out the seeds.
That's important.
The seeds give you diarrhea.
Good to know.
Yes, I'm full of useful trivia
Yeah.
and lots of many years of adventuring. You know, you learn the hard way what's edible and what's not. Anyway, how did we get on this? We were talking about mind flayers. Stop distracting me.
Sorry. So Bruce,
Zenith,
yeah.
speaking for the children, how do you feel about all this?
Mind flares or what?
Anything. I want to hear your views. You seem one of the more sensible, kind-hearted, generous, and forgiving of the group. You have a very soft touch.
Oh my god. Bro, move away. We're gonna talk about it later. Or do you wanna lose your head?
I don't want to lose my head.
So let's talk about it later, please.
Well, speaking of heads, I am a bit peckish. I noticed everybody else is eating. Do you have any brains?
No.
And there we are.
It doesn't need to be a lot. A halfling will do, just a snack. A
We
child?
should give him one.
Maybe the child. Can we have that? And he points at Squirt.
Hey, not that one.
Any other will
Alright.
do, but not that one.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you'd already called first dibs on that meal. That's all right, we can take something else. Look, hand over the helm. We'll figure it out. If you want to leave this creature here, we'll put him in isolation and confine him until we can find a solution. Perhaps the mind flare can be extracted. Otherwise, you'll have to deal with him if he gets loose. And I don't mean deal with him as in chastise him. I mean, and he draws his finger across his neck. You know, chopping, killing,
Yeah, we know.
mutilating. You're going to have to cut off his arms and legs and his head and burn the whole body. You get the idea. It's a bit like eating a melon. Morister Malkin of the Emerald Enclave. Yes, my lord. What do you have to say? Well, as a dual subject of Gauntled Grim and also of a representative of the Emerald Enclave of druids and nature lovers and rangers, it is our belief that the Black mold is, of course, a terrible tragedy, but we recognize that the environmental risk from the various demon incursions is far greater. Nothing would survive, including nature itself, if reality itself were to be unwound and remade into the chaotic images of the demon lords of the abyss. Yes. And what should we do? We have studied this, and we believe that the source, the ultimate source, is the abyss itself. Now, there hasn't been a successful incursion into the abyss in living memory, but it would not be impossible to stop them from coming here by restarting the embers, fanning the flames of the blood war, and redirecting their energies back against the devils. If we could do that, then, well, certainly my enemy's enemy is my friend. Isn't that the saying? Yes, quite. We would be willing to supply you with whatever you need that we can source from other regions of Faerun, and even as far as Karatur. But it would take some time, and in the meantime, we would like to see some positive results. What did you have in mind? If, as the heroes say, the source of the portal or the incursion from the abyss is actually in Menzoberranzan, perhaps they should be given as much support as possible to reach the city of the Dark Elves and close the portal or otherwise put an end to this threat. It would serve two purposes, of course. Firstly, that we would be able to have a period of peace and quiet whilst we rebuild our offenses and defenses. And secondly, it would bring the fight to them. It sounds as if possibly not only are the demons busy at work, but the drow themselves are on the rampage, if, as we all suspect, although there is no actual proof, and at this point she looks at the party members, that they were the ones responsible for the release of Megara, then at least it would distract them further from interrupting our own preparations. Yes, I agree. I think that makes sense. So, it's agreed. You'll hand over the helm, make preparations to invade Menzoberranzan at the head of an army, and take the city by force. Ha!
I think maybe a more subtle approach is better. We do have, well, we've been talking to the former Archmage, and I'm just gonna look at Sinise and smile, of Menzoberranzan. And he's agreed to, well, not help us, but guide us to Menzoberranzan, how to get in, and hopefully where to go. I think he believes that, well, there's a powerful mage, I can't remember his name just now, that's opened the portal. Oh, he knows him. So, and we have a way out if we can stick together.
I see. So your plan is to use stealth.
Well, like I said, we are used to make it up as we go, and stealth isn't our strong suit.
Well, you're talking to a dwarf in armor. Well, if you think you can do it, then of course we would support you. It's certainly less risk to have a handful of special operatives like yourselves execute a commando-style raid than marshalling an entire army, which, to be frank, I don't know that we would have guaranteed success. I would probably put our own chances at achieving our goals at no better than 1 in 3, all things considered. I don't suppose you know what you need. Do you need to go to the surface first? It's a few weeks, but you could do it. I'm sure Solace Hall will need to return to his portal in the Neverwinter Wood, and I imagine Lilith would be able to guide you back. Otherwise, you could trek on from here and we'll support you how we can. We do have things in inventory, of course. We'd have to divert them away from the promised shipments to the various kingdoms in the neighborhood, but I think they would understand. Do you have any reason to go to the surface?
No. Not really. I want to see the sun again. Is that a good enough reason? The trees?
Look, if you need to see the sun, then, well, as a dwarf, I can't really understand it, but certainly taking a break if you've been on the road and fighting hard for months is not without reason. I wouldn't stop you.
Yeah, but
Does anyone believe that a few extra weeks' diversion would necessarily change the outcome? My lord, I must insist. Neverwinter is at the risk of being overrun immediately. If they're coming to the surface, then let them come and help us try to dislodge this terrible tick that is the Zentrum scourge. At least they could do something positive.
how do any of you know how Port 9 Sorrow is faring?
What's that?
Schult, Port 9 Sorrow. We have a business partner there.
And Lord Neverwinter says, and Lord Neverember says, oh, Port Nyanzaru, yes, the former Amish outpost of the Jungle Peninsula. Yes, by all reports, the civil war rages quite heavily there. We haven't had any real shipments of silks or exotic fruits or wood in quite some time, weeks at least. There is quite a lot of piracy, and those shipments that had already made it out were re-diverted primarily to pirate havens such as Luskan to our north. Now, as a result of the proximity, and I am ashamed to say, again, the intercession of the Zentrum, who are famous for dealing in black market goods, we do, as the next major outpost of civilization and trade, benefit from their constant interruptions of trade and the reselling of stolen items. But it is an incomplete inventory and it has upset the logistical chain for supplies. Now, if you're asking me whether or not somebody needs to intervene, of course I would say yes. Neverwinter has always survived and thrived on trade, but we have our own problems. And until we can dislodge the Zentrum and retake the city, all of the northern Sword Coast cities from Waterdeep down to Baldur's Gate and the ones further east and inland, including Silvermoon, are at risk of potential interference by the Black Hand. Now, if I were to say to you that if you could help me secure the city, I would be in a position to support Baldur's Gate and all of the other cities further south, excluding Arm, of course, since they are some of the cause of all the strife. We would potentially be able to put together a flotilla and help restore the city, at least until such time as an international peacekeeping force could be arranged on a more permanent basis. But we need to get our own house in order first.
I think we need to kind of discuss as a group.
Are none of you friends of Neverwinter? Have none of you been to the city or have friends or loved ones there? It is a beautiful city. It doesn't deserve to be put under the heel of these jackbooted totalitarian stormtroopers. We must take it back for the freedom of the people and for free trade and commerce.
Well, I agree, but there's also the issue of the black mold, the demon lords, what happens if we go to Neverwinter first and we're too late to do all the other stuff.
Well, if you're going to the surface, I think you should go to Neverwinter and sort things out there. If you're not going to the surface, then fine.
I'm just gonna look
Don't-
at the others. Ideas? Opinions?
I think we should do it. I also miss, the upper world, the sun, and I think while we're at it, we can help. So
I think we should close that portal.
I agree with Cracker. Nobles and merchants of Neverwinter never did anything for me.
Did Charlotte? I don't remember. Did Charlotte share her background with her backstory with the party?
Briefly.
Mm-hmm. So the rest of you might remember that Charlotte's from Neverwinter. So
She
that
was an
may or may
oyster
not.
girl.
She was an oyster merchant, yeah, roving oyster peddler. So maybe her words carries a little bit of extra weight as an actual member of the city, or a former member of the city. But maybe not, right? She's just one person as well. Does Charlotte feel that everybody in Neverwinter is corrupt and evil and selfish, or does she just think that the people she dealt with were horrible? Or does she have a view that the whole city needs to be wiped off the map?
Not that extreme, but I think she is quite happy that it's in chaos. She's hoping that it'll teach them a lesson,
Right.
taste of their own medicine.
Are you a native of Neverwinter, young lady?
Who, me?
Yes, you seem to have some strong opinions about it.
Oh no, I've never been.
Roll deception. Ida, roll insight. Roll a d20 for insight for Lord Never Ember.
Come on, dice, don't fail me now.
Oh,
Did anybody touch my
D20?
mother's corpse? No, nobody touched it.
Oh, Ada, what have you done?
sorry.
What? Oh yeah, blame it on her. Blame it on the new player who didn't do anything wrong. Not
Oh,
don't
last
take,
week she was rolling ones.
don't take responsibility for the absolute obvious lie that you just told the Lord of Neverwinter, who's an experienced diplomat and used to seeing all kinds of people all the time, discerning their motivations. Well done, Ida. You're fast becoming the DM's pet. And he looks at you. Haven't I seen you around the docks? You smell like fish.
That's rude.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. I just. Look, Neverwinter is a wonderful, proud city. And if you did have a bad experience with shellfish or something, I do apologize. We can't always vouch for the freshness of all of the catches, but we do try to inspect them. But imagine what would happen if the Black Mold and the Black Network were to get their hands on all of the seafood trade coming in and out of the city. People would be poisoned and have terrible runs all the time. You wouldn't be able to get an oyster if your life depended on it. How many nobles would be able to have a nice party without oysters and canapes and caviar? It would be the end of the party season. No one would be able to throw any kind of a ball that was worth its name.
Couldn't imagine a worse scenario.
What's that?
I said I'm very sorry.
You have to speak up, dear. My old ears aren't very good sometimes. All of those years standing on battlements and trying to fight off sieges and invaders and all the siege weaponry and the shouting of the dying men and women. Anyway, I do hope you'll try to save the city. It's a good city. The people are kind and generous, and it deserves to be saved. It doesn't deserve to be enslaved, which is essentially what's happening now.
Is Lord Vidar in Neverwinter at the moment?
What's that?
Is Lord Vidar in Neverwinter at the moment?
Well, Lord Vidar is the one who led the Zentrum troops during the siege, but he has since left. His position is unknown, but he is using Neverwinter as a base for his own ambitions. My spies tell me that he is actually making a play for the top position in the Zentrum itself, usurping the leadership of the network would mean that he would end up being incredibly powerful. As you know, the network is not specifically one that uses magic, although they do have a special battalion of arcane casters that they use to supplement their militia and mercenary forces on the battlefield. It has been further enhanced by the forced acquisition of some tiefling sorcerers and other spellcasters who were found living in some swamp. I believe that those heroes were the ones who helped fight off the siege. Now, if Lord Vidar, who is by all accounts extremely powerful, more so than your typical general or leader, were to take command of the Zentrum, augmented, as it were, by all of these arcane casters, plus its own inherent battalion of casters and magical users. I don't believe there would be as much of a threat as Thay is, but their proximity to all of the cities on the Sword Coast would mean that they would be the primary threat, even beyond the expansion of colonial powers like Arm. We would be forced between the choice of a rock in terms of the demon invasion and a hard place, which is to say in slavery by these horrible, purely financially focused, greedy, and vicious people.
And the dwarves help.
Well, they are helping. They're going to make all the weapons and armor that we need. They can only do one thing at a time. And we have also put in requests to the elves, the city of Silvery Moon, which has, of course, its magical university, and Mithril Hall, which is, as you all well know, another dwarven kingdom further north. But they are closer to the actual orcs up in the spine of the world and are helping to form a bastion, a network, as it will, of first-line responders and fortresses. We are spread thin. This is the reality of any kind of a civilization that is open and has free trade and allows people to choose, within some reason, of course, their own path. Self-determination means that not everyone is pressed into the military, even in times of war. And so, of course, we cannot just simply command everyone and conscript them despite our own needs. You would make a difference, I can tell you that. Without Lord Vidar at the helm, most of them, and also the tieflings, are currently no longer with them because they travel with Lord Vidar. Most of them are just soldiers. Yes, very talented fighters, some of them, and extremely well trained, so they would be difficult to defeat. But they're more just an occupying force at this stage. We might be able to overthrow them within a few weeks if we just tried it. But the population are somewhat defeated and depleted after the orcs nearly wiped us out. And of course, the rest are cowed into submission. They simply arrest anyone in the middle of the night that they think are potential troublemakers. The fact that I'm still allowed to travel somewhat freely is simply the fact that I am, well, a figurehead. Taking me out would mean that they have, in fact and in name, taken control of the city, and the city is not quite ready to accept that. But it's only a matter of time.
How long do you think it would take to displace the Zentrum?
Well, travel time. I would think if you could engage them demoralize them and possibly take out their leadership. Guerrilla tactics. Weeks. Months at the outset. No more than 2 years. I don't know. I mean, I practically died because of a book. What do I know? But if you're going to the surface, it's only a few extra weeks, and it's only 3 days travel to the city from where we are when we come out. 2 if we walk very quickly. And we have an elven guide, like Lilith here. Why don't you all think about it while we all enjoy dessert? King Bruno? Yes, let's bring out the dessert. This is one of my favorite. It's sugar-coated gelatinous cube with a bit of Rotha spice and, well, we had a shipment of some very nice berries from the surface. Rare, as you can imagine. It's a bit spicy because of the gelatinous cube mold, but it's quite good. And if you like it tangy and sweet, I think you'll find it quite enjoyable. Plus, it's been chilled. Shall we take a 7-minute break?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hi, we hope you're enjoying this episode, and if so, please like and subscribe. And remember, the next time your DM says, roll initiative, yell back,
Here,
hold my earrings.
Here, my earrings.
This is good. I think we only need this take.
and this is what you guys are eating for dessert.
Looks delicious.
Yeah. No real gelatinous cubes are harmed in the making of this episode. Yet.
I feel like Byleth is going to put some in a jar.
Yeah.
Can
For
put some
hair.
real gelatinous cube over it. Kill everyone.
Hmm. If you did put like a gelatinous cube on someone and then casted oh wait, the enlarged thing only works on people, right?
No, it's
Never
also
mind.
objects.
Really?
Hmm.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you could totally do that. Although I will say that it's not, it doesn't specify exactly how some of these spells would work, although sometimes the spells do kind of indicate that you're not, or certain abilities, you wouldn't be able to use them to go around killing people automatically. Like, is it wild shape? I think if you change in some small shape and then you change back, you don't automatically just explode. So like you can't change into something small, get swallowed by some creature and then explode inside them. But there are some spells that are vague on it. So in theory, you might be able to. In my game, you wouldn't. If you gelatinous cube is a different thing because they swallow things. But if you were to try to turn into, basically do the explosion from inside, I would simply say that you pop out next to them. Otherwise, it becomes too easy to kill things. And then also, they can do it to you. So we don't want to do that either. Some of you have no problem getting killed, even when you try your hardest, and some of you don't even try your hardest all the time to not get killed. Not naming names. Hello. Sophie.
Coffee's delicious.
I don't know what's going on. Slurp. Let me just enjoy my boba tea innocently while nobody's looking. Okay. So we're back.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? There's a lot there, huh? Decisions.
Yes. Yes, there is.
How do we get to do all the things we need to do?
Yeah.
How do we decide who lives or dies?
Right. Flip a coin.
There's more chance.
Flip a coin. Yeah.
Easiest way. We know that the Zentrim are not good people. We did encounter them in Cholt. And we also know that Lord Vidar is not a good guy. And it's kind of suspicious because I found in my notes that he started existing like 5 years ago. So he is really suspicious. And Cora also said that he's a bad guy, so I trust her.
How long would it take us to close the portal in Menzel Branson?
I have no
Be
idea.
a lot longer? I don't know. What happens if we go to rescue Neverwinter and then, I don't know, the portal is out of control?
I mean, Neverwinter's a power struggle more than a invasion, and this is like invading and killing everybody.
Yeah. What we could do, if I'm going to ask just one of the people, how far is it to Mensa Branson from here?
The travel time in the Underdark, as you know, is not entirely linear. Not only do you have the barriers that are caused by rock falls, rock slides, the lack of a direct line of travel. Very often you have to move vertically through space. Menzel Branson sits far deeper in the Underdark than we do, and the pathway is indirect by design. No one wants a direct road straight to Menzel Branson. They don't want it, and we certainly don't either. It would take you weeks just to get down there, assuming you could pass without hindrance through all the various checkpoints and, of course, survive any encounters on the way down. Now, if you, as you say, have access to some former Archmage of Menzel Branson, then presumably he has a way to get you there faster, or perhaps even directly into the city without being detected. I would have thought, however, if you were trying to make your way down there normally, your biggest risk would be trying to explain why a group of non-drow slaves would have any reason going to Menzel Branson, and you would be stopped and possibly detained or even captured or killed long before you got there. It's a few days extra for us to get to the surface because we've put some barriers in place, but it is a fairly direct road, and you'll come out near Mount Hartenau, which is, as you may know, just a short river ride or walk through the forest to the city. It's days, not weeks, once you're on the surface. And by all accounts, although there is mass devastation, the countryside seems a bit more at peace with the withdrawal of the orcs and their allies, which included, as I understand it, a number of dragons. I could also offer you cover, if you needed it. Tinkle Sweetwater of the Sweetwater clan. They are famous for some of their brews, and they are exported. One of the few non-military exports of Gauntlgrim. It would not be unreasonable for a party to accompany a caravan of her exported fire, water, and beer to any major metropolitan center that imported such goods. It is typical to have men-at-arms and other guards protecting a slow-moving merchant group. Or you could move more quickly with Solus Hall if you're heading to the surface.
Yeah.
Of course, Thibbledorf, being a vampire, although he is bound to me in spirit and also in general loyalty. Well, Thibbledorf, you would accept my order if I gave it, wouldn't you, to accompany them further into the Underdark? And he kind of shuffles his feet. If I can kill more drow on the way, then fine, I'll do it. Never thought I'd like being a vampire, but it does have its uses. And if I ever do get my hands on Valindra Shadowmantle, I'll tear her limb from limb, and when she revives, I'll do it all again. Roar! And he bites the other drow vampire again. Of course, Thibbledorf is not exactly one for stealth. You might have to take that into consideration.
Well, neither are we, to be honest.
Oh, there you go. You don't have any drow in your party? I don't think he likes orcs that much, but I don't imagine he'll have to bite yours. Now, about that helm.
Fine. I take it off.
All right. Keep it on your character sheet. Don't delete it because you put a lot of work into it, but just uncheck it on your inventory. Thanks. Yes. Well, I shall hold on to it for now, but when the time comes for us to restart the forges in the next day or two, once we've secured that mithril shipment that you say you found, I'll hand it over to our leading forge master and crafter and armorers and let them take over and use it to make the weapons we need to supply our allies. Gauntlgrim thanks you, and as a token of our thanks, I would like, and he snaps his fingers and someone comes over with a little box, and inside it he pulls out 5 different parchments all rolled up into scrolls and sealed with wax. Each of these is prepared for each of you. And he motions for each of you to come up, and he hands them each individually to you. To you, Dalin, I pronounce you ambassador and plenipotentiary to the Seelie court on behalf of the kingdom of Gauntlgrim.
Oh, thank you.
You are on the same diplomatic ranking as Solas Hall, and you may directly intercede on our behalf as you see fit. You are not allowed, however, or empowered to make binding contracts, but you certainly are able to present to them our views as you understand them.
Okay. It's an honor. Just gonna bow.
Cracker,
Mm-hmm.
I name you Counselor for Royal Fitness and Chief Inspector of Bars and Taverns of Gauntlgrim.
Liking this.
As part of your responsibilities, you will be required to undertake a regular survey of each of the bars, taverns, inns, and establishments that serve alcohol and sample each and every one of their offerings for quality and assurances. You may, at any time, demand a free drink.
Oh, here. And I slam my what do you call it?
Is it tabard?
Mug? Yes, thank you. No, that's a tabard?
Is it
Anyways,
tabard?
I slam it on the table there. Here.
Perhaps you should take it easy on the drinking. It seems to have affected your memory. Well done. Byleth,
Yes.
I would like to name you, if you will accept the honor, Counselor for Arcane Matters and Wizard Extraordinaire.
Wow. Thank you. It's a great honor.
Pleasure. Charlotte, step forward. Now, we already have a wizard, so I couldn't very well name you another wizard extraordinaire of the court of King Brunor. You'll have to understand that. So, I name you Vice Admiral of the Navy. And you hear one of the dwarves go, "Do we even have a navy? We're underground." Shh, quiet. You are the first Vice Admiral of the Navy, and from now on, you shall be its premier sailor. I hope you don't get seasick.
Thank you. I will do my best.
You are empowered to negotiate on our behalf for any and all sea-related and merchant navy-related supplies. Anytime we order a ship, you should be involved. Do we even need ships? Quiet! And Zanice,
Yeah.
I would like to grant you the great honor of helping us rebuild the city. It is often said that we all mortals, live for one purpose and one purpose only. That of bringing forward a better life for our descendants. You shall therefore be the counselor in charge of education and children's welfare.
Oh, thank you.
You shall craft the next generation of dwarves that shall walk the halls. Your imprint and your decision making in terms of the academic works that children shall be given will drive the next generation of minds, and you shall have the auditing power over every school, creche, gymnasium, and educational facility, as well as private tutors in the city. You are responsible for the welfare of every child, and they shall all call you honorary mother.
Thank you. It's an honor.
I thought you'd like it. Do I know
Oh,
my
I-
heroes or what? Hey!
I love it.
Of course, heroes need a base, a place to call home to rest their weary heads. And I have ordered the construction of a new building. Well, it's technically the refurbishment of an old building, but whatever is old can be new again, as they say. And it shall be completed hopefully within a month. This shall be your permanent home away from home. Whenever you wish to come back, you may do so. You shall have permanent guards in front of the facility at all times. You may leave whatever you wish there in safekeeping, knowing that it shall not be touched or disturbed without your say-so. And of course, you have free rights to come and go in the city and access throughout the city, with the exception of a few sensitive areas within the throne hall and my personal abode. But otherwise, you shall be given every right, privilege, and accommodation possible within reason and under consideration of security matters that any subject of Gauntlegrim can give you. And this extends to the various ghosts of Gauntlegrim, although, of course, they are not directly governed in the same exact way. They do respect the authority that my position brings. Do you hear that, Thibbledorf? As long as there aren't any stinking drow, it's fine by me. Well, I don't see any. As they say, things change, but don't forget Drist was a drow. Is a drow. Yeah, he's the only good one, really. So, I hope this assuages some of the pain of losing this great artifact. But know that the Helm of Brilliance shall be put to good use, and we are all very grateful for your sacrifice. And I would also like to present to you, in recognition of the fact that we have nationalized this great treasure, how much can we spare, Counselor? Well, as I said, Your Lord, Your Highness, we will be running a deficit even with the use of the helm. The helm has limited resources. We can't keep it going forever. Yes, shut up. Just give me a number already. 1,000 gold? Right. 2,000 it is. But, Your Highness, nope, I won't hear any more of it. 2,000 gold to be shared amongst you however you decide. And, of course, as I said, free use of the city. And if you should wish to buy a boat, well, as the Vice Admiral of the Navy, Charlotte, you are empowered to do so and bill it back to the kingdom. Try to keep it under 500 gold pieces. We haven't got that much money right now.
Oh, no airship then.
Do we even have an airship? Sir, we're underground by 5 miles.
Well, we had.
Shut up! Quiet! Well, fine. I mean, if it looks like a boat, we'll call it a boat. I hope that is to everyone's satisfaction.
It is. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Certainly appreciated.
Make a toast.
Yes, to the heroes of Gauntlgrim and to the destruction of the demon lords, the elimination of the black mold, and I suppose the emancipation of the city of Neverwinter. Hear, hear.
Here,
To the king! Yeah, you're here.
To the king.
Oh, I think my sentry dogs are barking at the excitement. So, what do you guys want to do?
I don't know, I'm pretty drunk.
You haven't even started your audit of every single tavern, inn, hotel, restaurant, and otherwise
So
drinking
good.
establishment.
Stick with me, girls. We get free drinks.
You got free drinks.
I'll share. I'll make them big.
How far are we from Jesus, what's his name? The former Archmage Tower. Davir.
Yeah.
How far are we from there?
Did you say David?
Davir? Wasn't that his name?
Oh, Davir. Yes.
Davir.
Here.
Well, who are you asking?
The group. We should have some idea. We came from there.
Few
Does
days.
anybody know?
Far.
2 days.
2 days or something?
Yep.
I mean, do you want to roll history? I'll let you roll a history check.
Yep. I do.
I'm gonna help Byleth.
There it is.
Remember.
One too many samplings already, Cracker.
It's somewhere back there.
Yeah, it
And you-
is.
And you slosh some of the beer as you sort of wave your tankard in general direction
There
outside
it
the
is.
hall.
Yeah.
Okay. You know it stays. The Vice Admiral of the Navy probably would have a better memory if there was a waterway involved, but since it was all land, it's a little confusing for her.
Undergrounds.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I also want to try.
Mm-hmm.
I had disadvantage. I don't know why. It's 16.
Okay.
I think. Pointed, but.
You
Hey,
think.
there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, well, having answered your own question,
I don't need your help.
that's rude. I'm not as think as you drunk I am.
Yeah, I know. I look at those scores. It's like drunk, maybe a little sober.
Distracted
Should
by
be
how many
drunker.
books she has to write for kids and how many kids she's going to have to touch,
Mm,
or they're going to touch her, call her mother, honorary mother. So you did travel quite a few days to get to the outskirts of Gauntlgrim, and then you basically went up and down and sideways, right, as a result of being inside Gauntlgrim and the various levels. Your best guess is that it would take you probably 4 days of hard traveling to get back to the rough area. None of the dwarves know this area that you're referring to, which is not a surprise considering that Vizeran Devere made it a point to keep people out, and he did also tell you that this was an area that had been kept off the map as a result. The other thing to keep in mind is that it took you a few days to get there by using the paths created by the lava flow.
Right.
Counselor Braunanvil reports that as a result of the escape of Megara, the flooding of the Great Forge with lava and the subsequent drainage of the lava and the magma, in part due to your own actions, the areas that you traveled are not exactly safe to travel, or they're actually now blocked because some of the lava and magma, if it's gone, has hardened, and now those tunnels that you had passed through fairly easily are no longer available to you because they're filled or partially filled. I could also offer to have Rick the Roller accompany you, since you seem to all get along so well. What was that?
Good lord.
For the good food.
Yep.
I thought you'd like that idea.
Well, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Split the
It's
party?
useless.
Split the party?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Half of the party goes
Alright
to
then.
Mansa Baranson, the other one goes to Neverwinter.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Everybody
Sure.
dies.
Great plan.
Everybody dies. The whole world dies
We meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
after death.
And we only play, half of you only play every other week. Ida, how does Lilith feel about all this? Does Lilith have a view on whether or not Neverwinter should be saved?
Yes. I think it's important to save Neverwinter. I mean, I'm from there. And we could probably help.
Well, you're from the forest. You're from Neverwinter Forest. You're not from the city.
Yeah,
so-
no, but from around
Yeah.
the area, and what happened in Neverwinter might affect what's happening in Neverwinter Woods eventually.
Mhm.
Never know. But I mean, Mensobirasan sounds very dangerous.
It's the source of great evil and great power.
Yep. And then there isn't a long detour.
It's true. And there's also, I mean, Neverwinter Wood is without its own protectors. A lot of the military garrison have been killed or lost.
I should probably care as well, I think. Maybe.
Why is that?
Well, knowing who Solace Hall works for,
Mm-hmm.
probably care a bit.
Yeah.
But it's
Wasn't
big picture altogether. It's hard.
Does Lilith have any personal experience with loss? Or Delin? Since you're both tied to Neverwinter Wood.
Well, I lost my troop to orcs.
Those nasty orcs.
They're the reason why I'm here.
I'm a half orc. I'm a half orc. What is this?
I don't mind Cracker.
She says in her mind, but as she's drunk and slurring, how does it really sound, Yvonne?
I'm a orc. What's the problem with everyone? I'm not an orc. I'm a half orc.
And the rest of them just go, is she asking for more pork? We have Rotha meat. We don't have pork.
Pass everything down.
Give her something to eat, otherwise she'll be making a mess all night long. We just wax the floors.
The dwarf lady from the Enclave. She seemed to have some kind of knowledge about demon lords and maybe the destruction they would cause.
Oh, Marista Malkin.
Yeah. I want to hear her opinion if we go to Neverwinter first.
It is, as you say, the balance. The Emerald Enclave is not specifically focused on good or evil, or even law and chaos. We believe nature finds its own balance, like water. But, well, the black mold is unnatural. Nothing survives contact with it. And the scourge of the demons, well, I've spoken to the high priest and archdruid. It isn't really something that we can fathom fully. There are records of those who have successfully broached the abyss, and depending on the layers, they are, shall we say, disturbing at best. Warped reality where there is no up or down, there are no anchors, and the only thing that is constant is the soul-tormenting screams of those who have been lost within the abyss. If that is what they envision, if that is their goal, is to remake that here on Toru, we would not have any problem choosing between that or even enslavement by another mortal race bent only on self-promotion and wealth gathering. Besides, the truth is, killing humanoids is always a lot easier than destroying demons for good, especially when their leaders are involved. But it is also true that without a united front, it would be harder to withstand them. Now, this idea of a surgical strike force entering Menzoberranzan is it is attractive in that there isn't as much at risk. No offense to you, but, well, truly you are somewhat expendable. If we were to have to gather and marshal our forces for a proper assault on the city, despite their constant infighting for which the Drow are famous, we would be under great pressure to succeed. We would not be able to do it without being united everywhere else. The Zhentarim could probably be talked into joining this group just out of self-preservation. And if it is anything like the experience of the Neverwinter Siege itself, would probably seek afterwards, if there was victory, to then scoop up all of these scraps. But in the meantime, I imagine they would contribute. It isn't guaranteed that they would give it a full-hearted sacrifice, as if we were all in charge of our own destinies. But in the greater balance, the threat is existential versus, and this is a nod to Charlotte, political.
Does anyone here know how to shut down a portal?
King Brunner says, well, I happen to know somebody who's an expert on arcane matters. And he looks at Byleth.
That's me. Well,
Court Wizard Byleth, please enlighten us
yes.
with your insight.
Could I roll Arcana to see if I would have learned something in my time in Conclave?
I'll improve your odds if you give me some more specifics about how you might know or what you're looking for, what class it was in, who was the teacher.
Portal closing.
Did you take good notes? Leviosa? Leviosa.
I was always very eager to learn. I mean, well, I guess there was a class about portals and how to make portals and how to make like small portals and then bigger portals and then how to close them.
Who was the teacher?
The teacher was yeah. Maybe Bob or something.
Bob.
Satina.
Professor Bob.
Satina
The
Fizzle.
teacher was Miss Henrietta Yvonne Darius Sophie Ida, the third.
Yeah, I think something like that. But it's also been a while, and I've been so sidetracked by my hatred for Satina Fizzle that I, without my, without being able to fully graduate, I was like, I don't care about this theoretic stuff, and now
I
I'm
feel like
trying to
you're
remember
talking
it
your way
again.
back. It's like the DC is
Yeah.
getting harder and harder as you keep talking.
That's why I don't know the name, but I did take notes in the class.
Uh-huh. Okay. Like
Yeah.
notes, or did you just like practice your artwork on the side?
No, I definitely because I was a minority, I tried to really stand out. That's why I was so
Right.
mad when I didn't get to finish school.
Fair enough. Okay, let's give it an Arcana roll. Yeah, sure.
All right.
Oh,
25.
Wow.
I know everything about the arcane arts. I am the counselor of arcane matters after all, so.
Yes, you are. You certainly are. Well, what is it that what is it that you guys wanted to know? Maybe Byleth knows the answer now.
how
Flipping
to
through some old notebooks that she's carrying with her
Yeah.
all over the Underdark.
how to shut down the portal.
So, Byleth understands that theoretically it depends on the kind of portal. Some portals naturally end automatically as a result of the spell completing. Others can be permanent portals, but that requires casting typically the same spell, like teleportation circle, in the same location every day for a period of time, typically a year or more. There are other portals that may be opened, such as gate spells, which are more temporary in nature, but are very powerful, and they can traverse planes, and they can allow such dangerous creatures as demons and devils to travel through them. They are often used by very powerful spellcasters or even deities or powerful demons or lords specifically to try to pull in more allies or creatures that they hope to control. And a permanent portal that leads all the way to someplace like the Abyss must be extremely powerful magic. And closing it would require undoubtedly extremely powerful components and a very specialized ritual, which may be what Vizirandavir was referring to when he told you that he had a way to close it. And he said so in a very proud way. He's obviously a very proud individual to begin with, but he specifically said that he had a special way to do it. And that may be what he was referring to, which is to say, you can't just walk in and cast a dispel magic and hope that it'll succeed.
So we need to get to him either way first. We need to bring him with us, or I don't think we can learn the spell, can we?
Can you don't think you can what?
Learn the spell. Ritual to close the portal.
So Byleth would be able to tell you that these kinds of extensive rituals typically require the use of the actual tome, the ritual tome. They're so extensive that they take potentially hours or even days to execute. And it would not be something that somebody could prepare in advance. They would have to be there in the location where they wanted to use a spell like this, whether it's a ritual closing of a portal or some other major ritual spell.
Well, sounds like maybe getting backup before we go in to deal with the portal might be a good idea. I just don't think we'd convince Lord Vidar to help us.
You could always just beat them into submission.
You can give him a
Well,
book.
well, I don't mean that, but Lord Vidar may not be, because he's a bit too independent, it sounds like, if he's making a power play. But the frontline troops, they're effective, but they fight for money. And anyone who fights for money is always going to have a weaker drive than someone who fights for a cause they believe in. If you can successfully convert them, at least the ones that refuse to convert, getting rid of them is obviously no choice. But if you convert those that can be converted from simply working for a wage and loot into those who would fight for their own survival or those of their families, some of them surely have families that they might even care for. I'm certain every single one of the Zentrum mercenaries has a mother. And perhaps they would be able to fight more effectively and come to our side. And without a charismatic leader, all it takes is one of you to lead the charge. I mean, you know, it seems Zanice here has a way with children. Perhaps she could be one of their leaders. I don't know. I'm just simply saying it. Or Lilith, even. I mean, who knows? She seems quite quiet, but, you know, she's a local. Charlotte being a natural leader there in terms of the Navy. I mean, why wouldn't she be able to do it? All you need is a good story. Of course, you could just kill them.
We're better at that than convincing people, to be honest.
Well, I know what that's like. I didn't win back Gauntlgrim on my charm and good looks. I told a joke, Thibbledorf. Yes, funny. Very funny. He's in a bit of a sour mood. He hasn't eaten anybody in days.
I guess we need to decide soon what we're going to do.
Yes, we're running out of time.
Do we think we'll have a better chance by being free or by being forceful with some the winter? Zentrum or not?
Who are you asking?
I'm just saying, just stating.
What was you said? Being you broke up a bit. Being sweet.
We'll have
was
more. No, more stealthy or forceful.
Oh,
Yeah.
stealthy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what your plans would be, but if you intend on attacking them, there's a sizable garrison currently overseeing operations in Neverwinter. Now, of course, I still have my own troops, but they've been heavily depleted by the attacks upon the city and the efforts to drive back the orcs after they had given up the siege itself. Quite a number of my cavalry are spread around the area trying to maintain contact with the retreating orc forces and keep an eye on them. I'd say we're outnumbered 3-1 in the city itself. And in the countryside, it's probably the opposite because my forces are primarily outside. Now, my men are not experienced fighters. We do have a corps of professional men-at-arms and permanent soldiers for the city, but we are primarily a merchant group, and the police forces are larger, although less effective. Most of those currently standing are militia, and they are not particularly well trained or suited to fight a professional mercenary army like the Zentrum, so you'd have your work cut out in a straight-on fight. Of course, as I said, now that most of them have gone, that is the orcs, I say, then there isn't really a need for them to garrison any of the spellcasters, so you have an advantage there. And they are smart enough to know when they're outnumbered or outclassed. But you'd still have to get them into formation to make them easier targets if you were going to use some magic. Otherwise, a surgical strike to take out their leadership and replace it could effectively work. I know where they're located. They took over an old prison and used it as their headquarters. Until, that is, they killed one of the merchants who had a very nice house, and now their leadership primarily lodges there, whilst the rest of the garrison is located in the prison and in the walls. So it's really up to you. I don't know if it either one would work better, but whatever we can help you with, we would certainly provide that.
All right, surface it is in my books then.
Were you telling me tankard for a reason, Sophie?
But I sent it to Cracker.
Oh, you sent it to me.
To Cracker.
Did you send it to everybody?
Not to me.
Oh, I
Tankard?
see it.
In the chat.
Tankard. Sorry, I was too drunk.
Does that
That's
see it?
that's what I said, tankard. Anyway, so what do you
Refill.
think?
Refill.
No, quick. Get her something to drink before she gives
Makes
you
a decision.
a bad review.
Yeah, the beer in the Hall of the King leaves something to be desired.
No, don't you dare say that. These are
More
honorary
beer.
positions. Yes. Give her something to drink already. Not the green stuff. That's for the holidays. Stop that. Right. What do we say?
Denise, Violet, you haven't kind of said what you want to do.
I said I wanted to go up and help Neverwinter, and I like the strategic. Go do it a bit more strategically, because there are probably a lot of Zentrum, and to to not just take out one by one and then more come. I don't think that would be efficient. So
No, group them together and fireball, right?
oh, that well, we'll see. We'll wing it.
Denise?
I don't like the plan, but I could use some fresh air.
Right. Guess we go into the surface and hope that Demon Lord keep quiet in the meantime. Don't wreak too much havoc.
Just send them a paper bird and say, can you guys just sort of hang out for like a couple of weeks while we go take care of this?
Yeah.
Wait a bit, please. Wait for us.
We'll be right back. I promise this won't take very long. 2 years tops.
Yeah, right.
Okay, should we set a kind of a date that if we haven't accomplished what we want in so and so, we just go down here again? So we have
Yeah.
a kind of timeline, so we don't actually spend like a year on topside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea.
How long is
I don't know.
Well, it's all remember, it's all subject to how many long rests you take.
Yeah. It
If you
was
take a long rest after every fight, it'll take you a lot longer.
yeah. It was about 2 weeks to the surface and three days from the surface to Neverwinter. About.
Yeah, it's actually technically under 2 weeks to get to the surface, but it is about 3 days from Mount Hotenau, which is where this exit surface.
Okay.
So to get to the surface is not 2 weeks. To get to Mount Hotenau's surface entrance is 2 weeks. The surface is closer than 2 weeks, but you're basically traveling an indirect road.
Yeah. But the fastest way is 2 weeks to the surface and then 3 days to Neverwinter.
Well, if you're walking, if you have another way of doing it, like if you could fly from the surface, then you could certainly get there faster.
Yeah, level me up. I can. Okay.
I'm the king of Gauntlgrim. I can do so much, but I can't level you up.
Is it possible to get some mounts or something?
Whoa, mounts. You do know we're dwarves and we're underground.
Yeah.
I imagine the elves have mounts on the surface. We could give you a Rotha, but I don't know that they're much faster than you. Have you ever seen a dwarf riding a horse? It's very rare.
Right.
What about dwarves riding ponies? I think that would be cute.
I think you've got the wrong idea. That only happens in books and movies.
Okay.
Okay, but if we are going to the surface, I think maybe first thing in the morning to start.
Well,
Sounds good.
of course. I mean, there's more courses to eat. That was only the first main dessert, but we have 3 more desserts plus cheese. Plus, we've got more wine, spirits, port, and of course we've got cards after that. But I don't know if anybody wants to play cards.
I do.
Oh, very good, very good. Are you any good at cards?
Yes. I always
Uh,
win.
Oh, no magic.
Then we'll see about the winning part. But it will be fun.
Remember, you are now all heroes of Gauntlgrim and counselors in your own right. Please comport yourselves properly. You represent the kingdom and me. Now, of course, if you want to do that outside and you take advantage of somebody, then as long as they don't know who you are, that's fine. But, remember, if you take money from the soldiers here under my command, well, it just doesn't reflect well on any of us, really. They give so much and have so little.
Of course not.
Now, and he looks over at Solace Hall. I'll say that elf looks pretty damn rich. So if you can get him liquored up, go for it. Now, what are we doing with this Durgar friend of yours and that female over there and that other one that's got that terrible smell about him and all those weird glass menagerie bits? Are they staying here? Are they going with you? I could probably put the sculptor to work, actually.
Yeah, he's really good. He's incredible.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Amazing.
I mean, just like trinkets kind of good, or?
Oh, sculptures.
Oh,
Yeah. He's really good.
I mean, export quality?
I would believe so.
Oh. And he whispers in Counselor Braun Anvil's ear. Do you think we could perhaps start a new side business, try to export glass figurines to help boost our revenue? I'm asking you, heroes.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Sure. Yep. Great
Yeah.
idea.
Definitely.
Super.
Excellent. Well, I'll tell you, what's his name?
Bob.
Yeah.
You're joking, right?
No.
No.
Is that really his name? I've never met a dwarf named Bob.
Well, he doesn't remember his name, so we call him Bob.
Oh, I see. Well, we'll have the Keeper of Records go through the various roles and see if we can't find out who he really is. But in the meantime, I am going to grant each of you a separate title. Export Representative of Gauntlgrim Craft Items.
Okay.
Does Bob have any samples?
I don't know. Do you, Bob? Do you have any samples?
And he looks up from the little glass ball that he's been playing with the whole time, kind of ignoring the whole goings on. Just these. And he pulls out some beautiful pieces. They're all about the size of, they fit in, 4 of them fit in the palm of his hand. And they look like little figurines of each of you.
Aww. That's so cute.
Well, that's quite lovely. And we do have plenty of glass as a result of all the interaction with the magma. Right. So, Councillor Braun Anvil, what do we typically offer terms to merchants? Sir, we typically offer them a 10% fee, plus of course we take our duty and any net revenues go to the treasury. Right. 20% then. But my lord, shut up, quiet. If you can't help, just be quiet in the corner. Right. I will offer each of you a total 25% finder's fee for any deals you can ink on behalf of Gauntle Grim that help our export business.
Okay. 25%.
That's good.
I hope you're all taking notes because I won't be able to remember this tomorrow morning.
Oh, we are. I really need to talk to Sussan again.
Yeah, me too.
Been a while since we got our cut. So, Lilith, are you going to join us trying to free Neverwinter, or be our guide?
Yes.
She's heading to Menzo Baranzan on her own.
Well, she could go back to with Solace Hall. Can't force her.
I mean,
I was only his guide, so
he's not bad looking.
Is that?
I mean it's tempting, but
The thirst is real.
They both look like brother and sister.
That's disgusting. That's both disgusting and a bit racist. Are you saying all elves look alike? Sophie, honestly, what is up with you? Golly. Man. The PC police.
It's like a non-PC game.
So Bob stays here. What about that fellow? And he looks at Burrow. I'll be honest, I'd rather just wipe them all out.
His brothers did try to into our brains last time. Burrows.
Yeah.
True.
But, sometimes that's how friendships are formed.
No.
So how did you guys meet? Well, it's funny. The first time we met, he tried to eat my brains, but now we're like best buds. Do you need Rick to join you? I mean, we have uses for him here, but
No,
You
we're
can
fine.
take him.
Yeah, you can have him back.
We don't need him. Thank you.
oh, I feel a bit hurt.
Well, it's hard to be stealthy with that ball.
Oh, that's a fair point, actually. Yeah, she's spot on there. And you sense that his ego has been satisfied.
See, I'm trying to be nice. Doing my best.
Oh yeah, you're definitely lawful good now.
Yeah. Can I change it?
Absolutely. No. No. No.
Aw.
No. Put it back. Put it back.
Soon.
I think I've been good lately.
Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
At least in action.
Yeah. You can't be criticized for your thoughts, right?
No.
Do you need cover? Tinkle Sweetwater could go with you.
Looks an awful lot like that other dwarf.
Yeah. Kind of getting flashback.
Mhm. Yeah.
What
Not
other
that they all
dwarf?
look the same.
What
What was her name again?
Something Drizzle?
Drinkle? Drinkle.
Drinkle.
Yeah. Do you know Drinkle Sweetwater?
Oh yes, she is my
Oh.
sister.
Oh my god.
How do you know
We
her?
don't want her. We don't want her.
No.
She
We don't need
betrayed
it.
us.
What? You
Yeah.
know my sister? She betrayed? What do you mean? What happened to her?
For a demon.
She fell in love with Graz.
Well, she always did have an easy way with love. I'm afraid she wasn't the most virtuous. But she's never betrayed anyone before. She's quite loyal, actually.
No.
Not
she
to us.
isn't.
Loyal to evil.
Just to Graz, yeah. To the end.
Was he very good looking?
Yeah,
What do you think?
a bit.
Well, you can't fault a girl for that, then.
Oh yeah, you're definitely not coming with us.
No.
Mm.
What happened to her? Where is she?
She turned into worm.
What? She
Yeah,
turned into a
she turned-
worm?
Yeah.
He
That's
turned
what
her into
happens.
worm.
And what? Did you eat her? She eaten by fish?
Probably.
Oh, I really liked my sister. She was such a good girl. Okay, fine. She was a little unlucky in love, but look around. What other choice did she have? They all look the same, short, stocky with beards. I mean, that one over there, he's still got food in it from last week.
Keep talking. It's like a bigger shovel.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
That's good. Yeah, okay, not coming with us.
Where did you last see her? I'd like to actually try to find her. Is she alive?
No.
Oh,
Who knows?
I think, well,
Oh.
she was pulled through a portal, so I guess she's
Yeah.
at Graz's side.
Yeah.
So I think she's happy.
Oh, you mean she's living with that hot stud? You
Yeah.
did
There
say
you go.
he was a hot stud. Oh, right. Well,
Yeah.
then,
She's probably
well,
happy.
I'll have to check me messages and see if she sent me something.
Do that.
If she sent you something, tell me, please.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, yes. Shall we be
Thank you.
friends? If you give me your contact information, I'll make sure that I pass on any messages.
When I come back here, I'm gonna ask you.
Oh, that's all right then. Yes, that's fine. Yes, all right. Yep. Oh, I wonder if he has a brother.
Yeah, that's great. So not Drinkle, thanks very much for the offer. Or Trinkle, or Tinkle, or whatever the hell her name is.
It's Tinkle.
Yeah, okay, Tinkle.
Me ma always thought it was a nice sound. Anyway, well, thanks for letting me know. That's a shame. I wanted to see her. But I'm glad she found a fella. Right. Well, will you need anything else before you head out? Let me speak to that, what's the name of that Moradin fella that we had come in recently from Mithril Hall? Yes, all right, yeah. I've arranged to have him provide to you a scroll. Now, he had actually given it to me, but in light of the incredible service, I'm going to give you this scroll instead. I think one of you might be able to use it. It should be somebody like a holy person. It is a scroll of raised dead. And hopefully you won't need it right away. But as I understand it, even with the best of intentions and your most certainly safe and careful approach to taking on risk, it is still entirely possible that the completely unforeseen and unpreventable outcomes of death, dismemberment might happen. And so I leave this with you in the hopes that you shall never need it, but that if you do, you shall have it at your disposal.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else you could use?
I said maybe some alternative cover if we're not taking go with us.
Oh, right. Another excuse to go to Neverwinter. Well, technically, I mean, it is an open city. Trade, you're already representatives in terms of selling these glass sculptures, and you could take you could take some of the beer and the spirits. I mean, Tinkle doesn't have to go with you specifically. You could also bring some weapons and armor to try to sell. What else could we do? What do you think? Counselor Brawnanvil leans in and he whispers something. Yes. Now, we haven't discussed this, but my spy master has mentioned that it is entirely possible that you could simply sneak your way into the city, intersecting a ship. There are, aside from the ocean-going vessels that ply the trade routes, there are also quite a number of river and coastal craft, barges and such, that travel up and down the Sword Coast. Although they do go as far as Luskan, because of its historical association with piracy, it isn't the primary end point. Neverwinter is. Therefore, you could come out, take a slight detour from Mount Hottenau and head south. Intercept one of these trade barges at some place like Leylon, which is a small coastal town that is being rebuilt partly through funds by Lord Neverember there. Travel up to Neverwinter as part of their merchant group and enter through the ports, which it sounds like one of you might know. Now, in doing so, you would circumvent most of the discussions that you would have to have with the various intercepting militia. Lord Neverember could get you through those, of course, but the typical roadblocks and checkpoints almost always have at least one Zentrum representative as well. And that is always the tricky bit. In doing so, you would, of course, be coming in as primarily slavers or sailors or merchants. There are plenty of things to sell up and down the Sword Coast, so you could just drape yourselves in that facade. And Spy Master Slate here would be able to put you in contact with somebody in the docks if you didn't already have them yourself. It's a slightly different approach. Otherwise, you could try to hire yourselves out as mercenaries, even possibly offering to join the Zentrum. There isn't as much fighting now, but they are actively recruiting. They're essentially trying to suborn all of my militia and Lord Neverember's forces in the region. And if they can build up their power base further, they would be able to supplant almost all the military might north of the start of the Neverwinter Forest, especially with the withdrawal of Queen Titania's forces through their own portal. But it would add several extra days of travel to get to Leylon. You would make it up because the barge is faster than walking, but you'd have to divert yourselves to go south first.
Let's do that.
Well, if you want to go the ocean route, you'll have to let me know so that Spy Master Slate can put things in motion. We'll find a friendly barge to get you there. Or at least create some paperwork so that you can sign on without raising too many suspicions.
Not the fastest way, but maybe the smartest.
Lilith,
Yes.
I know this is not my place to ask of you. You have your own relationship with Soles Hall as his guide, and you are not part of my kingdom, nor are you my subject. But with the absence of any true leadership in the Elves of Neverwinter Wood after the devastation your people have faced, I personally believe it is in your best interest and that of your people if you were to help your fellow dining members in their quest to stabilize this region and allow us to bring forward a bit more peace and less totalitarian control. Now, if you could go with them, being as you are somewhat familiar with the region, and guide them through the forest and possibly into the city, I personally would be grateful.
That sounds like something I can do.
Good. It's decided. Oh, yes. Aren't you a priestess of one of those ocean gods or something?
Yes.
Well, there's your cover right there. You're all pilgrims.
May I ask which one?
Talos.
Oh, okay, thank God.
Or who are you not hoping for?
Umberly.
Oh, yes. Umberly is very, very capricious.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Everybody watches as Delyn's face goes pale.
Yeah.
A little bit of PTSD there.
Yeah, I'm starting to think about it. Is it the best choice to get on the ocean?
Oh, it's too late. You made your choice.
Yep.
All right. Hope none of you get seasick. Well,
Will you
it was
send some food on the way?
Shall we send some food on the way?
Yeah. For us.
Oh, you mean to give you as provisioning? Yes, of course. We'll provision you for supplies. We have some things in storage. Mostly mushroom-based dried meats, rothe. There hasn't been a whole lot in terms of surface-related agriculture that made it down without being tainted. As you see, the berries from our dessert was some of the last we received. However, I'm sure we can find something. Mostly dried rations. The food that you'll run into from the barges, probably from further south, should be in good shape. I don't believe the mold made it as far as Cholt or Alm or any of the other countries down there. So,
Perfect.
right. Well, thank you all very much. And on behalf of the kingdom, I do appreciate the sacrifices you've made and continue to make on everyone's behalf. And I will look forward to a successful campaign against the Black Network and your safe and speedy return.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And that's where we'll stop today.
Did we do the right thing?
Who knows? I don't know. Do we ever?
All this time. Gut feeling.
We'll finish with the Zentrum, and then we'll look up and there'll just be like demons flying
Yeah.
through the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
Chaos
to leave the
everywhere.
plane.
Too late.
Well,
Credits
wouldn't be the
rolling.
first time.
Credits rolling, exactly.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe just put the scroll and the gold in the bag of holding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good plan.
I already put the scroll in the back folding.
Oh, good. Just thought about also putting the gold. But if you want to divvy it up, we can.
Bag of folding's fine for me.
Yeah, just chuck it in there.
Well, I don't know. Some of you might want to have your own gold for a while instead of having to beg somebody else for it all the time.
Yeah, but in the bag of holding, I think that everyone can just take out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Fair enough.
that's ours. Of course, if you're gonna
Alright.
use 2,000 gold on a diamond, I might protest a bit, but
Everything for the chromatic orb.
Yeah. If you want another pearl, Going to a port city is definitely the place to look for one. You even have somebody who specializes in selling oysters, so she ought to know how to find one.
Yeah.
True. If we had met you sooner.
You know, better late than never, they say.
Right?
All right, folks. I will see you all next week.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Take care, everyone.
Guys.